Hi, this is The Greatest Story Ever Played. I'm Dan.
I'm Jordan.
And today we're here to talk about Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Oh yeah, one of the best franchises of all time, in my opinion, humble opinion. So yeah, jumping in, we got a new generation of Pokemon is coming to the Nintendo Switch system. Begin your adventure as a Pokemon trainer by choosing one of 3 new partner Pokemon, Grookey, Scorbunny, or Sobble. Then embark on a journey in the new Galar region, where you'll challenge the troublemakers of Team Yo while unraveling the mystery behind the legendary Pokemon Zacian and Zamazenta. I think that's how you say it. Explore the wild area, a vast expanse of land where the player can freely control the camera. Team up with 3 other players locally or online in the new multiplayer co-op max raid battles, in which players will face off against gigantic and super strong Pokemon known as Dynamax Pokemon. And this is developed by Game Freak, and they've made every Pokemon game so far, and they will probably make more. So,
yeah, I can't imagine Pokemon stops here.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Yeah, it's almost like this was probably the most, I don't know, out of the most new features out of any Pokemon game compared to like maybe Generation 1 when they first made them. So, I imagine they'll keep making them.
That's what it seemed like for me. And so I guess also listeners may or may not know this, but I've actually played exactly 2 Pokemon games. I've played Pokemon Red when it came out, and I played this one. So my
That's crazy.
Yeah, my gap in knowledge is like 20 years. So Jordan is most certainly our Pokemon expert here. But I did have fun for this, and it was cool to kind of come back and see the series and how it's changed, and almost all new Pokemon for me. So
Yeah, there were a lot, but yeah, there's probably like maybe 20 Pokemon, maybe 40, I don't know, from Generation 1 in this game. So yeah, you mostly were in new territory.
Yeah, almost everyone was new. I was like, ooh, Pikachu, Growlithe, I know you. But that was like about it. Like, instead, a lot of it was like, oh, the new Rattata. Or like, that's what it felt like when I'd see some of them, like, oh, this is the new version of a Pokemon I know.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is it's a new version of a new version of a new version of a new version of Rattata. So like layers deep at this point.
No, yeah. It's far from that, which is crazy. It was funny when I was playing. I was like, I bet there's some new Pokemon that I'm like, oh man, I love this new Pokemon. And people are like, that was from Gold and Silver, or like something like really old probably. And I'm like, It is new to me. Like, I've never seen you. Yeah, kind of fun. I hope that this is fun for people to hear. Getting 2 pretty different perspectives of Pokemon. Me being a pretty big noob, I would say, for the franchise, and then Jordan knowing quite a bit. But there are lots of familiar things, too, as to how this game unfolds. And so I guess we'll start where, in a pretty similar way, your character starts as Ash's did in Pokemon Red and Blue, which is you're at home, you're getting ready for your journey. You don't know your journey's coming, but you are thrust into that. Also, your character is a custom character, so you can edit a little more about them. In Red and Blue back in the day, you could just choose your name.
Yep. It was like 8 letters too, 8 characters in Red and Blue. Right. And maybe every game, I can't remember.
Right, so you were pretty limited. If you had a long name, you were out of luck.
Yeah. And this is a new feature, I think, to this game. I don't think this was in the last generation either.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. If I'm wrong, let me know. But I'm pretty sure this was new to this game.
That's cool. So then you could choose what your character looked like. There was maybe like, I don't know, 8 or 10 male options and 8 or 10 female options, something like that. Yeah. Mine, I thought one of the custom female ones looked like Max from Life is Strange, so I named my character Max and ran with that, and that was pretty fun.
Nice.
That was pretty fun. But yep, create your character. After this, you meet your best friend, who's a guy named Hop, who is your best friend, and he's very energetic and excitable. He always shakes his arms when he talks to you. He's just, always at 10 out of 10 of how he feels, it seems like.
Yep.
But he's your best friend, and his brother is a guy named Leon, who is the champion of the Galar region, and so he's a big deal, a celebrity, really, of sorts, and he gives you and Hop your Pokemon, each a Pokemon to set off in your journey to become Pokemon Masters, and, do the gyms and all that stuff. And so this, of course, brings up the all-important question: who did you choose as your starter?
I went with Grookey. He's the grass one. He's like a little, like monkey looking thing. I thought he looked really cool, so that's what I went. I almost never pick grass, but I usually go with fire, but I wanted to switch it up this time, and he was my favorite from the beginning.
Okay, cool. I went with Sobble, who is the water one, and I thought he was the cutest of the three, so that's why I did it. So I was like, all right, I'm going with Sobble. He's cute. I want him. And a thing that was kind of fun about when you meet the Pokemon was Leon just throws them all out, and they're all kind of running around, and you can just choose which one you want, which is cool. And when you see this happen too, you get first pick, you choose yours. But then Hop chooses whichever one is weak to yours, which is interesting. So for mine, he chose Score Bunny, which is the fire one, and I had water. Yours, he would have chose Sobble then?
Yeah, he did. Which, this is new too. In every other game, I think your rival chooses what's strong against yours. So I was expecting that in this one as well.
Yeah, so that was kind of an interesting turn of events. I didn't really see that coming either. So, you take one. Hop takes your weakness, and then actually Leon ends up taking the one that's strongest against you, and is like, "Cool, I'll pocket this, my third Pokemon."
Yeah, you dick.
Right. Little listener feedback: Rainbow Road on Twitter said they took Score Bunny.
Baphomet on Twitter said Sobble.
Chris on Twitter said Sobble.
Out in the Woods on Twitter said Sobble.
And then last up, Nikki on Twitter said, remember my favorite power in Bioshock? Obviously, I picked Score Bunny. I often always pick fire starters, but I did start a new playthrough recently, and I'm using Sobble there. So, a lot of Sobble and Score Bunny seem to be the favorites. I wonder if Grookey is the least chosen of them, like least often.
Probably. I think just personal perception, I think most people tend to not get the grass one. I don't know why that's the case, but I think also from all the because at this point too, I think they released all the evolutions of the starters.
Okay.
That I think the grass one was the least cool one at the end of it. In my opinion, so I wonder if that was kind of that was the consensus is Grookey or Sobble and Score Bunny had the best evolutions, which I wouldn't be surprised by.
That would make sense. That'd be fair. I do feel like, again, from a far outside perspective, but I know that with the old Pokemon, Charmander was kind of your main one people seem to like, and then Squirtle was kind of a number two, and Bulbasaur was a little more left behind.
Yeah.
Which I was a big Bulbasaur person, and that almost made me go with Grookey just because I wanted to continue the grass legacy, but then once it was time to choose, I said, sorry, Grookey, I'm going Sobble.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I have a feeling that most people choose. I think that's kind of the same in most games. It's like fire starter is the most popular, then the water one, then the grass one.
Interesting.
I don't know why, but that just seems to be, in my opinion, the fire one's usually the coolest.
Yeah, that must be the vibe, and people just have felt that way for, 20 years or whatever, which is interesting. That'd be cool to work at Game Freak and, have your, Telltale style stats as to which one people choose. That would be cool to know if you were them.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Or if you're, on the team that makes... I bet there's, maybe there's, a team for each starter, and you're, trying to make your starter the best one. Whoever makes the grass ones is kind of fucking up.
they're kind of the other team.
Yeah.
It's like, you did a bad job on this last game. You're going to the grass team.
And you're like, no, come on.
No, please. That'd be funny. It's like the fire starters are like the jocks, and
yeah,
they're just like bullying the grass team.
Yeah.
Oh man, Game Freak, they're crazy. No,
yeah.
So you pick your starter. You're ready to start your journey, and of course, before you start your journey, you've got to test out your new Pokemon. You battle Hop, and you end up battling Hop basically throughout the game. Not roughly every level, but almost every level. He shows up a lot. But what's kind of interesting with Hop is he's your rival, but he's also your best friend. So it's not like with Gary where he's your rival and you hate him. Instead, Hop's your rival and like you want to make each other ultimately better Pokemon trainers. That's sort of your goal. And so when you beat him, it's not like he's like, I hate you, I'm going to beat you next time. It's like, man, I've got to like live up to my brother's name. I want to be better and be able to hang with you kind of thing. So it sets up kind of a interesting, a different relationship than I was expecting, because I was sort of expecting the Pokemon formula to be exactly the same. And already starting off, a couple things are different than what I was used to.
Yeah, I think from previous games, I think they do have your rival be more of your friend a lot. Sometimes it's not the case, but...
Oh, okay, so they changed that a bit over the years.
Yeah, I think there ends up, from my memory of newer games is a little bit more fuzzy, but yeah, I think you generally get someone you're like friends with or like that isn't a dick like Gary.
Okay, cool.
So it's kind of somewhere between not a dick and best friend, you know? Okay.
Cool. I like that. That's a cool evolution from early on.
I see what you did there.
So after this, you end up going to a dark forest nearby of your house to go after a Woolly that's run off, which is basically a sheep Pokemon. And you go after it, and while you're out there, you run into these legendary Pokemon, which are Zakanian and Zamazenta.
Yeah, fair warning, we're gonna probably butcher these names and other names throughout the game, this podcast. But yeah, I in my head, I've never actually said it out loud, but I think it's Zakian and Zamazenta. But
Zamazenta, yeah, that seems good.
Yeah,
I'm comfortable with
using
those.
You read it the whole time you're playing it, but you never say it out loud, so you're like, I don't know. Not sure.
Yeah, some of the names make you wish that Pokemon had voice acting.
Yeah.
So that you'd be like, cool, this is how you say this one. But you run into them, and you try to battle it, but instead you just black out. It's like the Pokemon's too powerful. You couldn't even like do anything against it. It was kind of wild. Upon waking up, you decide to start your journey. On the way to your journey, you meet Sonia, who is doing... research about Pokemon and about wishing stars, right? Because the wishing stars are somehow connected to Pokemon being able to Dynamax, and so she's kind of trying to learn about that and why is the Galar region unique in this way.
Yeah.
So you meet her along the way. She's sort of a side character through the rest of the game. After this too, you see her at various places as well as you go. And then last thing that happens is Leon endorses you and Hop for the tournament. So kind of sends you on your way, just like in previous games. Go to your 8 gyms, get your badges, become an ultimate Pokemon trainer, basically.
I think there's 7 badges in this game.
Oh, is it 7?
I think so. This is maybe the first one where they did 7. I honestly can't remember. I beat the game, but it's been a while since I've done the gym challenge. Let me look. 2, 4, 6. No, there's 8. I was wrong.
Okay, cool. So yeah, beat your gyms. You're all good. That's kind of your goal. So you head off to go on your journey to win the Pokemon tournament, and on your way you pass through a new area called the Wild Area. You just basically walk through this to get to the next town. But what's pretty unique about the Wild Area is I think one, it's unique to this game, right? This hasn't shown up in previous Pokemon games.
No, not at all. Yeah, it's totally new.
Okay, cool. So it's this totally new thing, and within it, you've just got like tons of free roaming Pokemon. They're all over. And also, as you like walk through the wild area, the regions actually change. So there's part where it's like, it's raining here. It's really windy over here. It's, whatever. Sunny and nice over here. That sort of stuff. So it's pretty unique. As you walk through it, what the area looks like changes, but then also what Pokemon are available to catch there. Also, inside here, they have what are called raid battles, where you can, as was mentioned in the description at the top, you can try to capture a Dynamax Pokemon with other people, whether online or you could do it offline too. But do that, be able to catch Pokemon, and it's a good way to, add to your roster without just having to like walk through the tall grass to try to find Pokemon.
Yeah, it's a really cool addition because you can still walk through the grass and there's like random like exclamation marks that'll pop up in the grass that like they're just a mystery Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know which they are, but it's really nice to just walk around and see like a rare Pokemon that in previous games you would have never been able to catch in the wild. Like you can catch like Gengar and things like that, which I was super excited to see. Once I was strong enough to catch it, it was really cool.
Yeah, super cool. That those options are available in the wild area. Right now, of course, they aren't because, right now you have your equivalent of your Pidgeys and Rattatas and your starter.
Yeah.
But it's cool that it exists, and it's really a spot that you go back to a lot as you play. Another thing that can happen when you, like, do the max raid battles is you get a bunch of... I forget what they're called, but the equivalent of, like, rare candies where you can boost your Pokemon stats.
Yeah, they're yeah, they're like Dynamax candies or
Maybe
XP candies.
Yeah, something like that. I forget the name right now, but either way, they're very, very helpful in leveling your Pokemon up. And I did quite a bit of that at the middle of the game, so that I could kind of crush through the end, which was helpful. But anyway, wild area, it's very cool. If you have this game, you've probably spent a lot of time there. If you don't have this game, you will probably spend a lot of time here. It's very cool.
Yep. For sure.
After this, you make it to Motostoke, which is the first town on your journey, and this is where you register for the Pokemon tournament. And so this is unique too, and it is you register for it. You have like a number, you have a uniform. It feels a lot more official to me than like, again, old Pokemon for me playing is it seemed more like you were a guy, you'd go to a gym, and then when you beat the gym, you get a badge. This one, it feels a lot more like this would be an event that's on TV. Everyone knows about it. It's like a big deal sort of thing, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I liked this edition a lot. It felt way more like a sporting event. Like you have until here's the end of the season. Yeah, it's like January 1st is the end of the season. If you haven't beaten the gyms by then, you can't compete in, I don't know, like the tournament. So yeah, it was a really good addition. I like how they did that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Also in this town you meet Team Yell and fight them. Team Yell are a group of like avid supporters of another trainer who you'll meet in a minute. And they've got like face paint. They're annoying.
I hated them so much.
Yeah, they're very annoying. They're not quite like, I don't feel like they're bad guys in the way that bad guys are bad guys in some games, but they're certainly annoying. Like they're an annoying adversary for sure. And so, they've got like air horns and shit like that. They're annoying, but you battle them, and then you ultimately meet Marnie, who they support. So Marnie is another trainer who is jumping into the tournament as well. So she's like another rival of yours kind of along the way. Not in the same way as Hop, where you like battle her all the time, but you do battle her an okay amount, and she's an actual rival for sure.
Yeah, she's pretty strong.
Yeah, she's good. for sure. So before we go into the tournaments and how that goes, I thought this would be a good time to ask, what is our favorite Pokemon in our party besides our starter? And, we may have not gotten this Pokemon at the beginning, but who was kind of a favorite one as we went through the game? Who was one of your favorites?
There was a couple I liked a lot, but I think my favorite one was Toxtricity. So he's like it's an electric and poison type.
Okay.
So he was really cool. He was like the character was kind of made, I think, like around like a rock star type thing. He had like a mohawk, but it was made out of electricity, and he was purple and just looked really cool. He was like my favorite Pokemon in this game, I think.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I used him a lot. He was really sweet.
That's cool. My favorite was Metagross, who was this big metal turtle kind of thing, and was super tough. Like anyone who tried to hit him, it would only do like a little bit of damage. Even when I'd like fight like a Dynamax Pokemon with him, it would like a thing that would KO anyone else. It would get him like halfway or something like that. It was sweet. He was like my tank for sure.
Hell yeah.
And was like a really good closer in my battles. It was like I'd save him to last because it's like he could just outlast anyone he needed to at the end kind of thing, which was sweet.
That's sweet. Yeah, he's a good Pokemon. I think he was introduced in Ruby and Sapphire.
Okay. Yeah, really liked. Once I got that was huge. I got that in one of the max raid battles I did, and that was huge. That was like a game changer. Like, got it, and it was like immediately one of my best Pokemon, which was cool. Giga on Twitter said, "You can't make me choose between my Dreadnought and my Boltund, so I won't." So those are the two favorites there.
Yeah, let's play baseball. I liked everyone I ended up using in my party, but I probably used my Colossal most of all. So Colossal was like a big rock Pokemon that had like, I think it was rock and fire type. He was like, looked like a piece of coal. He was pretty cool. I think I had him in my party for a while too.
Nice. Alan on Twitter said, "For the latest entry, I liked using Rapidash. I love Psychic and Fairy types, especially if they're dual types." So yeah, that's what's up.
That's cool. Dakota on Twitter said it's always beware. I think I forget what kind of Pokemon that is. But I definitely remember catching that.
Nice. Then last, Nikki on Twitter said my Corviknight and my Dreadnought. So Dreadnought popular with our people. So that's cool. I think something that's cool about this game in general, and with Pokemon in general, but is, you get your 6 that you work with, and this is something that's nice too, is all your Pokemon level up when you battle, so everyone gets XP. The person who's actually doing the fighting gets the most XP, but like they all get XP, which is really nice that you don't have to try to throw like one Pokemon in a battle to get them some XP and then, let the other one finish it off or like that kind of stuff. So that was really nice in this game, is leveling up just happened easier, but it was cool because I felt like that helped you, I don't know, be able to have more leveled up Pokemon. Like I had some people who were basically my 6th man, so to speak, or I guess really my 7th man in Pokemon, but they're on the bench, they're in the storage center, but I'd pull them out fairly regularly if I needed them for a certain type of battle. Whereas I feel like again, a long time ago, Pokemon Red, it was like I had 6 and I just leveled the shit out of them up, and everyone else was just they're in the storage unit, like
yeah.
But this, it felt like it was like, I need an ice Pokemon sometimes, but they're not really in my main 6.
Yeah, this game, they really made it easy to level up Pokemon. Yeah, I think I got that same impression where I would rotate through, man, I don't know. I think I had like 3 different sets of 6 I would rotate through.
Okay.
depending on like what I wanted to do. Like I had my like main 6 that I used to like beat to make it to the championship the first time around, and then I like made an all dragon team after that, and then I made another random one. So yeah, it was really easy to do that in this game. And one downside to that, I think, is like I like from old games having to grind more, because I just like to grind. I don't know why, but I didn't really feel like I had to that much in this game, because I could just fight with my strongest Pokemon, and my other Pokemon still grow levels. So to me, it felt kind of cheap, but it did help in a lot of ways, for sure.
No, yeah, that's true. They really did remove a lot of grinding. They made it easier to really not grind if you wanted, like I didn't. So I really didn't grind too much. But if I chose not to, I still think it would have been easier if I didn't do that. So, or still been relatively easy. So, but no, that's definitely a good point for sure. There, I liked that. Yeah, I liked that I could do that, because I feel like I maybe had around 10 Pokemon I'd use, but then like, my starter, like Metagross and maybe a couple others, those kind of always stayed with me, and then I had other ones I rotated. Like I had a Diglett I used a lot because I could do dig and be underground and not get hit. So for a turn,
yeah, that's useful for sure.
Yeah, that was really useful in like trying to scheme in battles, kind of thing. So I would use that sometimes, but it wasn't really a main. Like it didn't stay in the party all the time. But cool. So our gym journey begins. We get to our first gym, which is a turf field gym. For this one, the gym leader is a guy named Milo. He's kind of like a buff farmer, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good description. That's him.
And his type is grass type. And as with every gym battle, you battle, I don't know, 2 or 3 people before you get to Milo, then you get to him. You battle him, and win. And I don't know which gym does what, but as it goes, as you win badges, you are able to catch Pokemon with higher levels, like Pokemon up to level 30 will listen to you now, and so on. So each gym brings certain things like that. So beat Milo. I didn't find this one too challenging and was able to kind of just move forward, which was nice.
Yeah, this one was pretty easy. I think the gyms definitely got harder as they went.
Yeah, I agree. So, yeah, overall, nothing too crazy. You get your first badge, you're feeling good. As with the other games too, you just follow routes from town to town. On the way, you get to battle various trainers, potentially catch Pokemon in the woods, or you can just see them walking around, which is also a cool feature. Like, you could just see the Pokemon walking around, and you could be like, oh, I want one of these, or I don't want one, so I'm going to try and avoid it.
Yeah, I really liked that aspect. If you just saw a Pokemon, you're like, I don't want you. Didn't have to risk the... there's no gamble of like, I don't know which one it's going to be.
Right.
You just know.
Yeah, that was really helpful, just to be able to know, like, okay, this is something I want or I don't want, so I can try to catch it or not. Yeah, I liked that for sure. Also, something that's cool in this is the trainers that you meet along the way are unique characters. So instead of just like a bug catcher and that's it, and all the bug catchers look the same, instead it would be like Bill the bug catcher or whatever, and then it would, Bill the bug catcher would look like whatever they look like, but then Cindy, who catches bugs, would look different later on if you met her, or whatever. She would still be, I guess, Cindy the bug catcher, but that kind of thing. Like, there's a lot of different people instead of like 3 generic trainers you fight along the way, as in older games. They actually all have names. They even look different from each other, which is cool. I think that's a cool change in this as well. And again, game's updated 20 years for me, but it's cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely... yeah, it's nice that they made the trainers feel more individual, as opposed to just like everyone's exactly the same. I also like, this is a random point too, but I think from what I remember in Red and Blue, every Pokemon a trainer had was the same level. So like if a bug catcher had 4 Pokemon, they were always going to be like level, I don't know, 10 or something like that. But now they're more variable. Like a trainer could have like 4 different Pokemon, and maybe one's like level 9, one's 12, whatever. So that made it feel more realistic too. Like you're fighting people that would have actually trained their Pokemon, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that was something that was kind of cool along the way. You see that. I'm trying to think of any other like general things that you get along the way. I think that's the main stuff. So that's cool. From here, you head to your next gym, which is Hulberry Gym. The gym leader there is Nessa, and she has water type Pokemon. And I'm guessing for you, since you had grass, it was probably pretty easy. I thought for me it wasn't too bad either. Even though it was water, it was fine.
Yeah, this was decently easy for sure.
Yeah, I think by the time I battled her, my Sobble was the same level or higher as like her Pokemon, so it wasn't a problem. From here, you continue your journey. You go to Motostoke Gym, and the gym leader here is Cabo, and he's got fire type Pokemon. Again, for me, he was a tough gym leader, but he was easy for me because I had a water starter. So that really helped me out, because by then I had I forget the name of the move, but it was a heavy water move that was like a dealt 100 damage, and it was a water one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, something like that. I had a really good water move, and so it was like he was fucked. If his Pokemon get hit once, they would get knocked out, kind of thing. So, yeah, again, nothing terribly crazy. Beat him. Then you move on to the 4th gym, which is Stow on the Side Gym. And this is actually where we get a difference in the game, which is cool. Is Sword and Shield actually have different gym leaders for these. So for me, I had Shield, and my gym leader was Alistair, who had Ghost-type Pokemon. And he was strange as a gym leader. Like, he didn't talk, really. And he wore like he had a lot of face paint on. He seemed kind of like a goth kid. Yeah, definitely strange. Had ghost type Pokemon, so that sort of fits with being like a spooky goth kid.
That's fair.
I thought, which was funny. But he was really fucking hard. I had to save scum to beat him. I was having a really hard time. So I had to
fair.
I saved scummed like after I beat all his trainers and got to him. I didn't have good Pokemon that would go against Ghost well, so I just put myself in kind of a shitty spot. So I had to like battle him several times until I figured out a good cheap way to win, which was I'd get to the last Pokemon with 2 Pokemon, and for my move I'd get to his like final Dynamax one, and I would have 2 Pokemon left, and he would have his Dynamax one. And my first one out there, I'd use a revive on a fainted Pokemon, throw that one out after he kills mine with the Dynamax. Do that until his Dynamax goes down. Then I send out my last one that was good, Dynamax it, and then just fuck him up. So
you just sacrificed your Pokemon?
Yeah, I had to. It was like the only way I could win, which was scummy, for sure. But I was backed against a wall and didn't know how to get better. At this point, when I got here, I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat this game. I got a little worried. So Alistair was my hardest, and this was before I really used the wild area too much. So I didn't do any max raids at that point. So my Pokemon were kind of leveled as you go through the game, not over leveled like I did later after this. So
okay.
Yeah, later I over leveled like a motherfucker. But yeah, this was my last one where I kind of went in with what the game gave me of abilities through like fighting all the trainers and all that stuff. But challenging, Alistair was tough. But you have a different gym leader that you played because you had Sword.
Yeah, again, I don't exactly remember beating what B. I think her name's B.
Yeah.
Or his name. I don't even remember. The gyms I remember the most are, well, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. This is actually one I don't remember much at all, and I don't remember the 6th gym much either.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know why that is, but
just not especially memorable. But it's
my gym, I guess, here was a fighting type.
Yeah.
Which I think I had at this point. I probably had a flying type Pokemon. I think I was using Farfetch'd.
Okay.
At this point, so I was probably pretty easy to beat.
Okay.
With because flying's super effective against fighting for some reason.
Sure. Okay. Cool. So when it's still on the side, 4 gyms down. You got 4 left. We move on to Bologna Gym. And the gym leader here is Opal. And she has fairy type for hers. And she's actually also kind of looking for a trainer, looking for someone to replace her as gym leader because she's an older lady. And so she's looking to be replaced. And is hoping that this tournament will ultimately find someone who could take over. That's sort of her goal. Here... Also, so as I mentioned, with Alistair being hard for me after this, I did a bunch of max raid battles and leveled my Pokemon up a lot. So for me, these last 4 gyms were not terribly hard because my Pokemon were usually a bit higher than theirs.
Yeah.
So I was able to kind of wreck them a bit.
Just kind of wreck. No big deal.
Yeah. Some of them were easy. I definitely over-leveled. I'd come in like 10 higher than them. So.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't hard because I was so good. It wasn't hard because I leveled my Pokemon up like a shitload and just grinded for a while in the wild area. Just like, all right, I'm gonna get this XP, and I'm just gonna do this until I get the XP and catch good Pokemon that I can win with. So
that's what you got to do. Yep.
Yeah, so at the Alistair gym, I imagine a lot of that starting lineup unfortunately got kicked to the bench by the time I continued my gym journey because I'd caught a lot of Dynamax, or caught a lot of Max Raid Pokemon who were better in that time. So, yeah, there's that. So, Opal, do that. Next up, you've got Sir Chester Gym. This one, again, is different for Sword and Shield. In mine, for Shield, you battle Melanie, and she has Ice-type Pokemon. And, again, she wasn't... I mean, my Pokemon were over-leveled, but also Sobble, being water, was totally fine against Ice, so it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, and then for me, I had Gordy. He was a Rock-type, and I vaguely remember him. I think he had, like, blonde hair. He was kind of like a buffer guy, too.
Okay.
He was kind of mean, actually. I think he was kind of a dick.
Oh, wow.
From what I remember. Yeah.
Huh. Crazy.
I know.
So, that's Gym 6. Next up, you go to Spikemouth Gym. The gym leader here is Pierce, who is Marnie's brother. And so, on your way there, Marnie actually shows you how to get into the gym because it's sort of like blocked off in their town to make it hard for people to come to the gym. But then once you get inside, when you try to head to the gym, Team Yell, again, keeps trying to stop you from going to the gym because they want to, make sure that Marnie becomes the champion. They don't want anyone else to. They want their town represented. But Marnie sees what's going on and scolds them and tells them not to do that. Like, you've made it this far. Don't bother them. Basically.
Yeah, they're cheaters.
Yeah, which Marnie was cool. Team Yell doesn't seem to be doing what she wants at all. They just seem to be rabid fans, and she's like, stop. So I liked Marnie a bit. I thought she was a cool rival. But also, unique thing about Spikemouth. Also they use Dark-type Pokemon here. And... what's unique here is they don't have Dynamax at this gym. So every other gym has Dynamax, but this one uniquely does not. I don't remember why. But it's sort of a point of pride for them. It's like, we didn't need Dynamax to be a good Pokemon gym, that sort of stuff. And like, they think it's cool.
Yeah, I liked fighting without Dynamaxing.
Yeah.
It just feels more like straightforward, like, old school brass tacks Pokemon. I don't know.
No, I agree. I wasn't a big fan of that either. Like, in the game, it was like, but then we make the last one big. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
That wasn't my favorite, but I'm sure there are people who love Dynamax. Yeah, not for me. I mean, I did it when I'd play, but like I didn't like it as a concept.
Yeah. Yep.
So, Beat Peers move on to the final gym, which is the Hammerlock gym. And their gym leader is Raihan. And he uses Dragon type. And he's Leon's like true rival. So he's like Leon's age. You would imagine they like went to school together, like kind of thing. Like they've known each other for a long time, sort of deal. And he's Leon's like true rival. Like Leon, before he sends you on the tournament, is like, your last one, Raihan, he's my true rival. Like, if you can beat him, then I think you're really ready to try to battle me. Like he's a step above the rest of the gyms, and he's
good.
He's good. He was challenging for me, even with my overleveled Pokemon. He was challenging. So
yeah, I think he beat me a couple times actually.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Because his last Pokemon was really hard, from what I remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's tough. He's a very worthy adversary. Even if your Pokemon are good, his are still quite good. But you do ultimately beat him, and then you head to Windon, which is where the tournament should be held, and you're supposed to meet Leon for dinner to, I don't know, celebrate and get ready for the tournament that's coming. And Leon doesn't show. It turns out he is at business with a guy named Rose. Rose is this businessman who's almost like your Elon Musk character of Galar. So he's like a tech guy with a lot of money, and he's using Pokemon for energy and stuff. And you interact with him a lot through your journey with the gyms. So I guess also actually as a side point, when you do go through the gyms, in some cities you'll see Sonia, some you'll see Leon, some you'll see Hop and battle him, some you'll see Marnie and battle her, some you'll see Beatty, who is another one of your rivals, and battle him. Sometimes you'll see Rose. So you get little updates with these characters kind of along the way. Getting to meet them and a little bit about what's going on, but not anything too major. But they're not unfamiliar either.
Yeah.
So Leon's with Rose, so you decide to go try to meet Leon. And so you and Hop battle through Rose's company to go to Rose's office, which is kind of funny. It felt a little Team Rockety to me, which was...
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
Which is kind of silly.
Yeah.
But you find him with Leon, and you hear like the end of their conversation. Rose being concerned about something, just about like the energy levels in Galar, and he's really concerned about it and wants Leon to help. And Leon's kind of like, meh, that's like a problem in 1,000 years. I don't need to deal with that right now. And Rose is kind of mad.
Yeah. It seems kind of... They're both kind of eccentric in different ways. I don't know, like Leon's kind of like brushing it off, and maybe he shouldn't, and Rose is taking it too seriously, and he probably shouldn't. So,
right, yeah,
both kind of wrong, different directions.
I agree. So the next day is the gym tournament, and you have a tournament where it's like an Elite Eight, basically, bracket. And the gym leaders and you are all going to battle to be able to see whoever wins this can then battle Leon. And Opal isn't part of this, so you're the 8th seed, basically. Opal's not a part of the battle because she's retired since, and now it's like looking for a new gym leader. And so as you're getting ready to battle, Beatty shows up and interrupts you to battle you before the tournament starts. And it turns out Beatty is Opal's trainee who will hopefully take over the gym someday. And Beatty's like, I hate you. I couldn't beat you and I had to quit the tournament. So I'm going to beat you now before the tournament starts.
You're like, you're not going to, but okay.
Yeah, so then you smash Beatty and move on. Since my Pokemon were over-leveled, it was pretty easy on this one, and I just was like, no mercy, I'll just put my best one in and just wreck you.
Yeah.
So,
I wish you could talk shit in this game. If they, like, gave you an option to do that, I would talk so much shit to Beatty.
Oh, yeah, me too. So, beat Beatty. Okay, then they're like, oh, well, that weird interruption's over. Let's get on with the tournament. So, round 1, you fight Nessa. And then round 2, I fight Alistair, but you fought B. And then round 3, you got to go against Raihan again with his dragon Pokemon. And Raihan, at this point, has actually switched his team up a little bit. So it's not the exact same Pokemon you fought a little while ago. He's improved his team even more. And again, pretty challenging. Challenging fight, again, really brings it, but you do beat him. And ultimately, he's like, wow, you're great. You should be challenging Leon. Like, if you can beat me, you'd be good to challenge him, kind of thing. So, tournaments, all well and good. As a side comment, I get why you have to battle these specific ones, but I wish it was random, kind of. I wish the game could have generated it, and everyone didn't fight the same 3. Like, I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, at the very least, I missed the Elite Four. So, like, back in, Red, Blue, and every other Pokemon, well, most every other Pokemon game, there's, like, what? Yeah, there's 4 trainers, and they're all, like, they're the Elite Four, they're the best 4 trainers, and they're different than the gym leaders. Right. So I would have liked to have different trainers here, because it felt, like, I already beat these guys, like, I don't really want to beat them again. I mean, I'll beat them again as many times as they want to keep crawling back to get smacked. I'll beat them, but... I wish they were different, I just, want some variety. Yeah. So I was kind of bummed they were the same. Even if they had different Pokemon, it still felt similar to me.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, so you battle that, and then you get ready to prepare your battle for Leon to figure out who's going to be the champion of Galar. But then, when you're right about to battle, Rose interrupts on the teleprompter and he says, I've released the darkest days. They're here. You have to solve them.
You're like, dude, fuck you.
Yeah, you're like, come on. And so Leon heads off on champion business to save the world. And you and Hop are like, okay, well, we live here too. We've got to try to save the region. And, like, Leon's my brother, so we've got to, help him, kind of thing. So we head back to near our house at the beginning of the game, the Slumbering Weld, which is the spooky forest nearby. And in the spooky forest, we see Zakanian and Zamazenta.
Zakanian.
How do you say it?
I think it's Zakian.
Yeah, that's...
Zakanian. Yes. You added like 4 extra letters.
Yep, you're right. Zakian. You're right. Zakanian. Oh, no.
That's all right. I understand.
When I read them when I played, I was like the Z Pokemon, like I did.
Yeah.
Or I'd call them Sword and Shield.
Yeah, that's what they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the dog Pokemon. I don't know.
Yeah. Zakanian. Oh no. Zakian and Zamazenta. There we go.
Yeah.
You see them, but you can't catch them. But you ultimately keep walking through the spooky forest, and you find a monument to them, and there's a rusted sword and a rusted shield on the ground. So you and Hop pick them up, respective as to which game you bought. So I picked up the shield, and you picked up the sword, I assume.
Yep.
So you pick them up, and you're like, well, we didn't find the Pokemon we wanted, but maybe these spooky heirlooms will help us.
Spooky.
Maybe they'll help us. So you head back to the city, and at the energy plant, you battle Rose. And Rose is, the energy for the Pokemon. Like, we needed to, if we didn't, release the energy, and like all the Pokemon Dynamaxing right now, it would have happened in the future. And you're like, well, why'd you make it happen now? Like,
Yeah, you fool.
he's dumb. So
Yep.
you battle him, and he's like, oh, battling Pokemon is fun. Maybe I should have just been doing this kind of thing.
God. It's like, you idiot.
Yeah, he's dumb. But unfortunately, before he ruined everything, he also put a lot of energy into a Pokemon called Eternatus. It's like Eternity, but Atus at the end.
Yeah, like Eternatus. Something like that.
Yeah, Eternatus. Who is a Dynamax Pokemon who has a ton of energy and is really, really hard to beat. And that the fear is basically if no one can beat or catch this Pokemon, it will just like rampage through the region and like wreck everything. So Leon tries to catch it, but ultimately fails and blacks out. And so then you and Hop are like, okay, if Leon can't do it, I guess we need to try. So you try. And it's the two of you. Oh, we didn't comment on this earlier, but something that's cool in this game is you can have 2-on-2 or 2-on-1 battles kind of thing. So you can have, or up to 4 even. But you can battle multiple people at once, which is pretty fun as a thing.
Yeah, it's not super new.
No, really?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, let's see.
Well, I don't care if it's not new. It's new to me, and I thought it was cool.
Well, yeah, fair enough. It is cool for sure. So I didn't mean to shit all over that.
No. It makes sense that's been going for a long time.
Yeah,
again,
it is a cool feature.
Again, same thing. Things that are old are new to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
But so you battle. You and Hop try to battle Eternatus, and it doesn't work. But you pull out your rusty Sword and Shield, and Sword and Shield show up. The Pokemon show up.
Zekanian shows up.
Yep. Yeah. I was going to try to say it, and I was like, nope. They show up, and they join you in your battle. So they help you defeat the Pokemon, and you catch Eternatus. It's a big deal. You caught them, and the two mystical dogs have helped us do this. They've helped save Galar, which they probably did in the past too, based on how legend goes. Is that the Dark Days once happened long ago, but Zacian and Zamazenta made it happen back in the day with other trainers and like saved the universe, kind of thing. And that happens again here, which is cool. And so after this, a few days later, things are really buzzing for you. People are like, wow, you caught Eternatus, you helped save the galaxy, or not the galaxy.
Our Star Wars.
I know, just crossing over into everything.
Yeah.
You helped save Galar. There we go. And so you've got quite a bit of buzz, but you also have unfinished business. You need to battle Leon. And you do. You battle Leon, and his Pokemon are hard. He's got a lot of good ones. Even me being pretty over-leveled at this point, his were very similar levels, and were pretty challenging. For me, ultimately, though, it came down to, at the end, my grown-up Sobble versus his Charizard, so he was in trouble when that came out.
He was in trouble.
Yeah, but he took me down to my last Pokemon. It was strictly 1v1 at the end, versus some of the other people I battled before this, it was like, half of my guys are left, kind of thing. But he took me down to the wire, so truly challenging, for sure, even when your Pokemon are good.
Yeah, he was difficult, especially as Charizard at the end. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know if I had water Pokemon in my party at this point.
Okay.
But yeah, he was definitely the hardest in the game. I mean, obviously he's the champion, but it was really fun to beat him because the whole time people were just sucking his nuts. You know, he's the best. He's never been beaten. And then I beat him, and it was like, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Every time you saw him, he was like, I'm Leon, the unbeatable champion. And then,
you're like,
and
bro,
then,
okay.
And then Hop would be like, my brother Leon, the unbeatable champion. Like it was like part of his name, almost.
Yeah.
And so and you know, you knew that you were going to battle him ultimately. So getting to and then beating him, we're like, no, I'm the unbeatable champion. Max Caulfield's here. Come on.
Max, yeah.
But beat him, you become champion. And, you know, it's a big deal. Crowd goes wild. Even another thing that's cool, like we talked about, is that these are like sporting events. So, you know, you're in a stadium full of people who are excited to see this. You know, there's TVs with people watching, all of that. And, like, there are people cheering for you at this point. Like, before this, you talk in the locker room to Hop, who's like, you know, he's my brother, but, like, you're my rival, so I do want you to beat him. Good luck. You know, he roots for you. Or, like, later on, earlier in the tournament, when Piers goes down, Piers and Marnie say they're rooting for you, like that kind of thing. So you kind of see some of your rivals kind of throw in behind you and be like, no, we want to see you do this. Like, that's cool. So, yeah, just kind of the energy of getting to battle him and then winning was cool. How that went.
Yeah, dude, the vibes were on point.
So you win, you're the new champion, and then your kind of post-game content, after you've become champion, you've got kind of two main things on your to-do list. The first one being is you help the gym leaders defeat Dynamax Pokemon in their city. So when Rose got all the energy out, and it Dynamaxed a bunch of Pokemon, so you have to kind of settle the region down by beating these Pokemon.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was like a final little quest.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. So you do that, and then lastly, you can go catch your legendary Pokemon. You can catch Zekayan or Zamanzinta, and catch that, get them to be part of your party. Big deal. And, you know, of course, after that, you can, like, try to fill out your Pokedex and that sort of stuff. But those are kind of your main quest lines after the game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then there's the DLCs they released too, which you have to buy them separately, so we won't have to really talk about them, but you can get those and play them. They're pretty fun. I played them both.
You've played both? Okay. I don't have the DLCs yet. I've heard they're fun, but I haven't gotten them. So
yeah, essentially it's 2 whole new big wild areas,
right.
Different areas, and then there's like side quests and stuff to do, like a little mini story. So it's pretty fun.
Okay,
I liked them.
Cool. Yeah, I'm on the fence if I want to get them or not. I heard the wild area is really cool and stuff, but I'm not as much of a guy who's like, I want to go fill out the Pokedex, and so then I'm like, well, do I want to buy the DLC if I don't care as much about that?
Yeah, it's probably not worth it if you. Yeah, because the extra content, in my opinion, it's not super crazy. Like, it doesn't add a whole bunch of story. It has some, but if you're just playing for the story, I'd probably skip it and watch just like a recap or a walkthrough or something about it.
Sure.
Or listen to a podcast about it from somewhere else.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. That's good to know. I could see going either way. So maybe in the future we will have a Sword and Shield DLC episode, but maybe we won't. I don't know. But yeah, that's I guess the main story, the main game. So we can move into some general thoughts.
Cool. I can go first.
Cool.
I really liked this game a lot. It was so like we had mentioned at the beginning, I've played most of the Pokemon games. I've played at least one from every generation, if not 2. But yeah, it was really cool having like a Pokemon game on an actual console. Because I had played like, I think it was called Pokemon XD on the GameCube, but it wasn't like a full Pokemon, real Pokemon game. It felt different. So this was really nice having like an actual full length real Pokemon game on a console. It was really fun. The improved graphics were great. I just really enjoyed like holding a controller and playing Pokemon on a big TV. It was great.
Right. No, that's true. Because I guess what I was gonna say. I guess again, I've only played old ones, but like Pokemon Stadium on N64. But you didn't do quest or anything. You just battled. Like it wasn't not anything like this. Not a real Pokemon game.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't. There was no story really. I mean, I wouldn't say there's a story. It was essentially like loosely connected Pokemon battles.
Right. Yeah. So to get a real one where you could play it on your TV, that is really cool.
And it was cool, like with improved graphics and stuff too. That was really fun.
Yeah, I really like getting to see what these Pokemon look like in a setting like this or whatever. I thought that was cool. One thing I really liked in this game was the multiple rivals kind of thing. So I mentioned it earlier, but having like Hop, Marnie, and Beatty, having them kind of all be people you're competing with instead of just one of them. I thought that was cool as opposed to your Gary, in that none of them are like, I mean, Beatty was kind of like your Gary in some ways, but like, not as full antagonistic or not all the time kind of thing. And I thought that was cool, is that you kind of have, just rivals you're coming up with, all like trying to be the next, really good new trainer in the Galar region kind of thing. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. That is a nice factor. Yeah, I like having like the side plots that go on, and then having three rivals kind of doing different things. I mean, Marnie and Hop are trying to do the same. Well, I guess they're all trying to get the same place, but they're all very different, and you know them from different ways, or you met them in different ways.
Right.
So it added some depth, I think, to the story. And it was just fun to like walk into a city and like you don't know which one you're going to battle, and then you get to battle them and beat their ass. It was really fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah. I think my favorite thing about this game was the wild area. I really really liked, like the mix, because like kind of like Pokemon Go where you see the little Pokemon on the screen and you click it. It was kind of like that, but it was in a Pokemon game, so I think it was really well done. So I just loved having, walking around the wild area and seeing like a Pokemon pop up, and you hear its the cry or the noise it would make, and then it was just I think it made it feel more like the TV show, because I grew up watching like the original Indigo Plateau, I think is what it's called, like season 1 or 2, or I don't remember, but it felt like that to me. Like it was like, oh, I'm playing the TV show, or playing through like how it was in the TV show. It was really cool.
Yeah, I think that's cool too, because like I would imagine in a real Pokemon world, you would see a lot of them. They wouldn't just be in the bushes hiding or whatever and surprise you. Like that, I'm sure that would happen some too. But like, like one of the first things you see when you walk in the wild area is an Onix that's like 20 levels above you, and you're like, the first time you saw it, you're like, "Ooh, I want to see if I can get this," and then it wrecs you, and you're like, "All right, I can't go that way. I need to, I need to avoid that Onix. Maybe I'll come back for you later." Kind of thing. But that's like pretty cool. I thought that was awesome too. A thing I liked. This would probably go a little bit against what you said earlier, but I thought the tournament after the gym was a really cool idea. I am with you, though. I think it would be cooler if it was other trainers as opposed to the gym leaders again. But I think I liked it more than the Elite Four. Just that, like, to me, the Elite Four felt like, oh, you did all the things you were supposed to do, but wait, there's more. And maybe I'm not remembering how the Elite Four is presented as well. But I feel like with the tournament, it sort of gave a purpose. Like, it seems like really you should have battled all your rivals in this again, maybe.
Yeah.
Like what if 8 trainers made it there, and then each round you ended up battling your rivals? Those were the ones that automatically won. And you face Hop right before you facing his brother. Like,
I would like that a lot more, I think.
Because
I think I just didn't like it being the gym leaders again.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know why.
No, that's fair. Because I feel like it would make sense too. It's like, okay, only 8 people this season beat all the gym leaders. They're here now. Which one of them will fight Leon? And then, you beat BD first, then you beat Marnie, and then you beat Hop. Like, I feel like that would have been cool.
Yeah, that I agree. I'm surprised they didn't do that, actually.
Yeah, I wonder if they should have done that instead. But whatever. But I think I liked that more than the Elite Four. But then also, I thought having Chairman Rose as kind of the, not the big bad, but because he wasn't necessarily a bad guy all the time. Like, he wasn't evil, necessarily. But I liked him better.
He's just dumb.
Yeah, he's dumb and, like, I don't know. Yeah, did bad, for sure. But I like that better than having Team Rocket and the things with Team Rocket going on in the first game. Just because, like, fighting Team Rocket, I was like, I'm 8. Why am I the one fighting all these people?
Well, you're 10,
Yeah.
So.
Like,
Big difference.
I'm 10. I'm going to travel our country fighting Pokemon, and I'm also going to be fighting the bad people, the mafia, essentially.
Yeah, the crime syndicate, underground crime syndicate.
Yeah, and in our nation, too, kind of thing. Like, I thought that was always sort of meh. But here, I mean, except at the end when you battle through Rose's office, which I think they just were like, we've got to do this, which, whatever. But I thought him being that, because by the end of the game, once he does, fuck shit up and Dynamax everything, you're a good trainer by that point. Like, people know you're a good trainer because you're in the tournament. So you having to go, like, help out and do stuff, I felt like that made a lot more sense than, like, you're a child and you're fighting crime.
Yeah, that's fair. There's less plot holes,
Yeah, or at least it just fits better. Because, like, it still does feel a little crazy that your, like, mom is like, okay, cool, good luck on your tournament. But, like, I felt like for this, though, since it was a tournament, it did feel like it's like, oh, is this just what 14-year-olds do in this region, is they do the Pokemon tournament. And they travel around with their friends and, like, it's just a thing, Versus, like, the first Pokemon game. It's like the old scientist in your neighborhood gave you a book that will fill out Pokemon for him. And he says, go, good luck. Find the Pokemon for me. Also, there's gyms along the way, and you can become a renowned trainer. And you're like, all right, cool, I'm 10. I'll figure this out. And I guess all this to say, too, for people, it's not, I'm not shitting on Pokemon to just shit on it. Like, I like Pokemon, for sure. And I think it's fun, and I enjoy it. But just that, like, it didn't quite fit right. And I guess in fairness to Pokemon, that was their first game. I'm sure they've made that stuff a lot better as years have gone on. But, not really.
It's pretty standard for Pokemon. Okay. You're about 10 and you get some task and you got to do it. And then there's some bad people.
Okay.
Again, I love Pokemon. It's one of my favorite series. But it's always been funny to me.
Yeah, it just seems like the little bit of, like, specifically fighting the Mafia is the part that gets me sort of off. I'm like,
yeah.
How are none of these adults better at using their Pokemon than you are? And, like, why is it your job to, like, make society safe?
Or is there an army? Like, is there a...
Right.
Gotta be an army, Send in the fucking military and take them down. Or the police.
Oh, yeah. It seems like there should just be something. So it's just funny that, like, in those. So I like that this didn't do that and got to be a lot more about, like, you as a trainer growing up and becoming a Pokemon legend sort of thing. Like, cool. That makes sense. And, like, for both of them, ultimately this is a kid's game, so it makes sense that it should appeal to kids. More than me and, me complaining about a thing or something. But I felt like this one fit really well of, like, cool, this makes a lot of sense. You're a kid, this is what you do, you grow up, you go and enter the Pokemon tournament, maybe you'll be champion. Like, cool, I get that makes a lot of sense.
Yep, definitely. Random point you won't know anything about because you haven't played the games, but in past games there was this feature called Mega Evolutions. So it was kind of like Dynamaxing, but instead of getting really big, the Pokemon would evolve to, like, another form during the battle.
Oh,
So
wow.
it'd be almost like, from like Dragon Ball Z going Super Saiyan. It'd be kind of like that. So that's why I liked it, because I love Dragon Ball Z. So you could like Mega Evolve one Pokemon per battle, and it would stay that way the whole battle. So it was really cool. So I missed that feature. They introduced that in like maybe, Platinum. I can't remember. White or black. So in one of the DS versions they released it, and I liked it a lot. It was really cool, and I missed that. Dynamaxing was okay, but I think I definitely prefer Mega Evolutions. So that's just my personal opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I think I would like that better too. Like, okay, we're making the Pokemon extra powerful briefly, as opposed to we'll make them very big, which also makes them powerful. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah, because like the Dynamax did, like it changed their moves and it gave them more HP. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Mega Evolutions, it makes them look different too. Like they actually, like they look really cool. Like Charizard turns into like a black Charizard with like
cool.
blue fire. It's really sweet. Yeah. And then they don't learn any different moves, but they're just extra powerful. It feels more strategic to me because they last for the whole battle. Whereas, Dynamax, you can do it once
For 3.
and they last for 3 turns. Yeah, it's like I could just, it's fine.
So you could
Yeah.
you'd Dynamax Charizard and he'd be or not Dynamax, but
Mega Evolve.
you'd Mega Evolve him and it would be until he faints.
Yeah, I'm
like
pretty sure.
in that battle kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm like 95% sure.
That's cool.
Unless maybe you switch him out of your, you take him back into this Pokeball, maybe he goes back to normal, but I don't think so.
Okay, that's cool. I like that idea.
Yeah, it was a cool feature.
Nice. My, I guess, last comment I've got is overall, I really enjoyed seeing how much Pokemon had changed, as evidenced by me saying that a lot, probably through this through this time on here. It was cool just seeing what had gone on in a series that I haven't been a part of. I don't think I've owned any Nintendo since my Game Boy. I had like a Game Boy and an N64 at the same time, and I don't think I've owned any Nintendo consoles since then. So having a Switch now and getting to play it, and just kind of seeing, all the evolutions that come with that, right? Of like a bunch of new Pokemon, different ways they tell the story, that improve graphics, all of that stuff. Like it's cool to just kind of experience all of that in a new jump, and I think made this like a really enjoyable experience for sure. I like that a lot, and I definitely would like to play more Pokemon again someday. I don't think I want to wait 20 years again or something like that. Like I don't want to wait that long. But yeah. I do kind of feel like I want to wait either a decent amount of time to just then, get to enjoy the big changes again. Like that was pretty cool to get to do. Or maybe go back and pick up one of the most beloved ones from earlier in the series, like because a thing I learned a little bit ago too was apparently each game is basically a fictional version of a real place. So, like, I guess this is like the UK is what Galar actually is. And that, like, red and blue is Japan. But I think each one sort of is either a city or a country that the fictional symbolizes a real version of somewhere else. Which sounded really cool. And so I'm like, oh, cool. Like, if there's the one that's like set in Australia, maybe that would be cool, or in Paris or whatever. So, I don't know. All in all, very cool. Definitely into playing more Pokemon, and maybe go back to some of the old goodies of whatever your favorites are or something. That would be fun.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. I'd recommend like Gold or Silver. I mean, they're really old, but they're some of my favorite ones. And yeah, I mean, I agree. This was a lot of fun. I think this was one of my favorite Pokemon games. Just with like, there's a big jump in graphics and gameplay and features they added. So I think it just kind of, they nailed it in my opinion.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I hope all of you enjoyed this game as much as we did. Yeah, definitely thought it was cool. Last up, we do got a little bit of listener feedback about the game in general. First up, we've got from Nikki on Twitter, who said, absolutely great Pokemon game. Why? It almost made me feel like I was playing Pokemon for the first time again, which is something I often don't feel about other games. I love that they kept the new regional forms thing, especially the Galar Rapidash is super cute. The soundtrack is very nice, and the arena theme gets me super hyped, especially on the last stage. The Slumbering World theme is so good. I almost love all the new Pokemon, which is cool, and I don't care much about the Nat Dex controversy. I'm excited to play the DLC. So, a lot of things there. A good comment on there for sure to call out is I thought the music was pretty fun in this game. Like the battle music, I thought even though Team Yell was annoying, their music was pretty fun.
Yeah. They were annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, the music was cool too. I really agree. The Slumbering Weld theme song is really good. In the end of the game, there's like a battle tower you can do, and you can pick the music that plays, and I always pick that.
Oh, that's cool.
That song. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Did this feel like that for you? That feeling that she said, almost playing Pokemon for the first time again, like just getting it to be, like, did it feel like that for you? Of like getting, I can play this game on the TV and like those things you described.
Yeah, it felt somewhat different. I mean, yes and no. I don't know how to describe it. I'll say no. It was different because it was on the TV and there's a lot of features and it was a different kind of feel. But it's still Pokemon, so it kind of like I didn't have the learning curve was still like not extreme for me where it was when I first played. So I don't know how to describe it. I have to think more about it. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I'm not sure.
Sure.
It was fun though. That's for sure.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's Play Baseball on Twitter said, loved the game overall, but the story was a little short on the first playthrough. It may be different if I played through it again with all of the DLC. However, I never really ran out of stuff to do, which was nice. Yeah, I don't remember the story being too short, but I definitely felt like there was a lot of stuff to do. Even after I beat the tournament and all that, it still felt like there was a lot of activities or things I felt like doing, which was cool.
Yeah, it does feel like you have a lot to do in the game for sure, which is good. Last up, Dakota on Twitter says, any game where I can say I'm going to play for a half hour and look up and it's 5 hours have passed is a good game. Also, the Team Yell theme is nuts.
There you go.
Yeah, that is true about this game. I definitely, when I'd sit down to play, I mostly played handheld. But, I'd sit down to play and be like, oh, I'll just play for a little bit. And then I would be like, oh, it's been a long time. Like, it's been hours or something. But I had a lot of times where I'd, like, play on my lunch break. And then I'd be like, oh, shit, I got to get back to work. And, like, I never took too long of lunches or something. But, I was like, oh, I'll just do this one battle. And then I was like, oh, man, I don't have time for another one after this. But, like, I would want to keep playing for sure.
You want to keep trucking.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, super engaging. Spent a lot of time on it. Getting to play it and was a really good time. I feel like this game maybe officially makes buying a Switch worth it for me. Like I bought it for Animal Crossing and I thought that was worth it anyway, but then getting this game and the enjoyment out of it, I think that would make it officially it was officially worthwhile, even if I didn't end up playing a lot of games I enjoyed on Switch after this. I think between Pokemon and Animal Crossing, that probably gets it the win for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, I guess that's all I've got. Do you have anything else?
No, I think that covers it from my end.
Perfect. Well, that's Pokemon Sword and Shield. If you've got other thoughts on the game and you'd like to keep talking about it, please hit us up. That'd be great. Love to keep talking about this game. You can get in contact with us a few ways. You can go to our Twitter, which is @StoryEverPod. We're pretty active on there. Our website is TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed.com, which will give you a backlog of all our episodes, including we did one on Pokemon Red and Blue about a year ago, maybe, year and a half ago. something like that.
Yeah.
So
Been a while.
yeah, so you can see what we thought about the first Pokemon game if you'd like. That's there. Also, if you'd like to financially support the podcast, you can do that at patreon.com/TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed. And for as little as $1 per month, that will give you access to a bonus episode we do each month, which is usually about video games. Like we talked about our favorite video game characters, our favorite games from childhood, or upcoming, we're going to do one on The Mandalorian Season 1. That's about to come out soon. So, things like that, if that's something that interests you. We'd super appreciate the financial support if you want to get it. That helps us pay for like hosting and buying games, stuff like that. So that would be cool. If you can't do that, that's totally cool. And if you'd want to just support the podcast another way, you could do that by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcast or Podchaser or other places that would let you rate. That would be cool. Just, again, help get the word out about games, and just getting to enjoy these games more with other people would be super cool. And that is the episode, and we'll see you